thank you. Give me this opportunity to give a briefly introduction about China, both China and the world by 2030. This is our new book, published the Chinese version last October. The total topic, how to let the China step by step forward the common prosperity society. Even talk about it, the world, how to step by step promote what we call the 大同 world. I will give a definition. This book, English version, will be published this month by the Springer. This is the first time we not only forecast the China in future, but also the first time to give the forecast in the world. As you know, the China and the world, very dynamic interaction between them. Today, time very limitation. I gave a briefly introduction of this lectures will be like my presentation in the internet. So I quickly gave a briefly conclusion for our research or forecast the world by 2030. Firstly, that means the world, the world into the world golden growth age. Secondly, the world industry structure readjustment gave our opportunity to how to follow up, even utilize. The third, that means the third new round of the economic globalization, not only by the developed country, but also developing country like China. The fourth, that means science and technology and innovation revolution. The fifth, global aging and fuel childrenization, especially in the developing country, even the China, and rapidly urbanization. That point I call the global green revolution. I call the fourth time, fourth industry revolution. Fourthly, why we call the world into the third golden growth age. If you look at the historical record, first golden age in the period of 1870 to the 1913, the world economic growth reached to the 2.1%. Second golden age, since 1950 to the 1973, the world economic growth reached to the peak, nearly the 4.9%. This is based on Angus Medicine database. Here gave a very professional solid research. If based on medicine database, we are continue to forecast 2030. We found it, the world into the third golden age will be reached to the 3.5%. This conclusion we are, how to say, forecast before international financial crisis in 2008. But even financial crisis coming, not pass, we believe in this world will be continue to golden age. that means driving by the North country. If I look at the map, the GDP share of the world total by two kind of the country. One is we call the South country. Second is the North country. We find the map of the economic geographic big change. If I look at the South's share of the world total, since 1820, from 70% decline to nearly the 40% in 1950. Even maintain this ratio until 2000. When the 2000, the South country, the share first time to over than 50%, reached to the 52.4%. That means the China and the India gave a contribution, a big change. By 2030, South country share will be reached to the more than the 66%. Even the China will be reached to the 33.4%. Meanwhile, North country from 47.6 in 2010 declined to 33%. This reflects the South-North country big change. That means from 70 to the 30, North to the South in the 1820, shift to 30 to the 70 in 1950. But now, recovery. This is a very like a typical, we call the U-curve for the South countries. If I look at the industry structure global, a big change, even the agriculture share continue decline, industry continue decline, service sector continue increase. If I look at the map of the trade, both export and import in the global, you find it the South country will be continue to increase, reach to the 72% by 2030. The China will be continue from now 10% increase to the one of the fourth the world total. The meanwhile import share big change from now more than 40% for the South, increase to 60%. The China from now 9% increase to 27%. We forecast the China will be from a trade surplus country, shift to the balance between the import and export, even become a net import country if the China continue to open outside. Look at the FDI, the China quickly become the newcomer. In 1980, the China very small the ratio. That's only account for 0.1% of world total. But now become number 2 or number 3, reach to the 8.5% of the world. In the 2020, will be increased to 15%. 2030 will be reached to the 20%. That means the China quickly become a newcomer for the foreign direct investment host country, even the outside, go outside. So how to utilize the China opportunity? That means how to absorb China FDI. This is for the global. So I think the China quickly to become a newcomer, new FDI, will need a lot of the international cooperation, especially international business cooperation. This is a reflect the China more and more promote the economic globalization from export, import, even the FDI after flow or inflow. More and more integration. So if I look at the R&D and S&D, science and technology, the China quickly become a newcomer to promote science and technology cooperation. This is reflects the China have a very strong human capital advantage. In 1980, the China science and technology personnel full-time research, that's only 320. But now, more than the 1.9 million, the new data last year, is number one, over than EU and the US. By 2020, I directly involved in the China national long-term development of the talents or profession, 2010 to the 2020 will be reached to the 3 million. That means scientists, engineering in the R&D, this field. By 2030, will be more than the 4.2 billion, 5 billion. That means sum of the EU and the US. That means the China will become biggest R&D base. Even now, the multi-company set up the R&D institution more than 1,700. In 1995, that's only 2 or 3. So this is reflects the China human capital, especially R&D, will give opportunity that the China R&D more and more internationalization, more and more international cooperation, become a new center of the R&D. If I look at the global aging population rapidly increase, even the China. If I look at the global challenge, we call the number one, that means the global climate change. So the human being, how to respond? We think about it, we need to together to initial fourth industrialization revolution. We call the green revolution. That means we need to develop the green production, green energy, green consumption, green architecture, greenhouse, even the green transportation. This is reflect the human being need to pursue the new pattern, new model to development. I have a special another book to focus on this topic. If I look at the future in the world, we call the 大同 society. That means a common perspective. Why we believe in even the optimism? I calculated the catch-up index of the GDP per capita. That means those countries equal to 100%. If I look at the South Asian developing country, China, and India, we found the curve since 1820. We call the divergences, great divergences. Even look at 1950, South country account for about 20%. Continued decline. After 2000, this curve reverse, increase to the 18% last 10 years. If by 2030 will be increased to more than 30%. Why North country or South country from a great divergences shift to the great convergences? I think the China, Indian, and Asia developed country and other some emerging developed country give a contribution. They are quickly to a convergences with North country, especially like China with US. Not only from per capita GDP, but also education indicators, health indicators, even the HDI, Human Development Index. This is why we concern us or focus on human being. We are look at, this is the good news. Even the poverty, absolute international standard, poverty incident rate rapidly decline, especially China and India. The China next step, target, that means get off all the absolute poverty population. If I look at the 大同, the peace, 大同 word, what means? We gave a clear definition. One is the peaceful, the word, that means depend on the Chinese leaders. Second, we call the harmonious word. This is the announcement by our president Hu Jintao, 2004 or 2005. The third, this is our definition. That means common reach the world. That means based on the catch-up indicators, we find it the per capita GDP, per capita income, education, health, and other some indicators will be convergences. Last point, very important, with definition, the green the world. That means the China need to give a contribution green the world. I called the green contribution. I quickly to mention about it, China situation by 2030. Firstly, we need to from economic side. Secondly, from science and technology. The third, from human development. The fourth, from common rich ideas. Last point, green contribution. From green contribution. I use the three approach to forecast the China GDP tendency with the US. Firstly, we use the current exchange rate. Secondly, based on the PPP current price. Thirdly, we use the Angus Madison methodology based on constant price at the PPP. That means in the 1990s international US dollars. This is very professional to calculate. I introduce coefficient we call the catch-up index that the US equal to 100%. If I look at the 2000 data, you find that these three approach very diversity, very different That means from 12% to the 54%. If look at 2010, from 40% to the 100, that means based on Angus Mattison data, 2008, U.S. is about 1.07% of the China, but now China is about 113% of the U.S. This is our calculate based on Angus data. If I look at the current exchange, we find it before international crisis, U.S. GDP is about 4 times that of the China. 2010 declined to 2.5 times. 2011, last year, reduced to 2.1 or 2.2 times. This reflects the China quickly catch up during the international financial crisis. So I call the crisis in Chinese words equal to opportunity. Very rapidly catch up with U.S. By 2030, based on our 3 approach, we find it very convergences. That means China is about 2.0 time to the 2.2 time that of the U.S. So I exchange ideas with American scholars. Mostly American scholars believe in the China just only over than the U.S., not think about the 2 times. This is a calculation very controversial. So I think we use 3 approach to measure them. Secondly, we use per capita GDP or GDP per capita. The same conclusion. The China quickly to catch up. I use the catch up index of the GDP per capita. By 2030, the China will become the high-income country. This definition I called one country or one region. The per capita GDP is over than 50% of the U.S. This is my definition. By 2030, if based on catch-up index, the China catch up with the U.S. from 52% to the 56%. This is our conclusion. Same conclusion, similar with World Bank report, same title, 2030 China. We not only calculate absolute, but also relative coefficient. This is reflect the China quickly from, I call the low income country in 1978. That means China per capita GDP account for about half of the low income average, just only 50%. By 2030, that means take 50 years, half center years become low income. This is reflects the China create economic miracle quickly to accelerate industrialization, modernization, and other some the factors. So I quickly gave a summary of a book. That means reflects the future China and the world. Fourthly, the common prosperity the country. This means very important for our target in the future. Even this time, 18th Congress will be discussion about it, China goals by 2030. We gave a solid background research for a report. Secondly, common prosperity of the world. That means a big development, big convergences, a big reverse, a big transformation. Last point, the China will be the most powerful engine for the global economic development. The new donors, international development assistance. My book we call a very big ODA plan. That means by 2015, the China ODA, especially for the Asia and the Africa, American, North American, the poor countries, reach to the 0.3% of the GDP. That means American now just only 0.3%. By 2020, will be reached to the OECD's average. That means 0.7%. By 2030, more than 1%. So the China will become a #1 donation of the ODA. Last point, the leading country of the global big transformation. Promote free trade, promote economic globalization, promote green the world. So if the China success, the world success. If the China failure, the world should be failure. Thank you very much.